Keep Right with Ralph K. Ginorio. Democracy, Hypocricy. Today's leftists say that they prize democracy above all other considerations. Abroad and in the United States, they proclaim that a rising fascism threatens our democracy. Faced with countless would-be Hitlers, the call of today's left is to use any and every means to defend what they call democracy. In Europe, leftists are more advanced in redefining the old feudalism as the new democracy. In Britain, Keir Starmer's socialists have transformed the United Kingdom's government from protector of its citizens to oppressor. Free speech earns more strict punishment than actual crime, and political opponents of the government are being arrested and imprisoned. France's Emmanuel Macron has denied electoral results that he and his party disagree with, delaying their implementation for almost a year in certain cases. Opposition leader Marine Le Pen, long castigated as being fascist, faces aggressive lawfare against herself and her party. A leftist coalition of parties has ruled well beyond their legitimate time in office because of this. In Germany, the Alternative for Deutschland party, AfD, won the second place in very recent voting. Between them and the more traditional Christian Democratic Union, CDU, more than half of Germany's voters mandated a shift away from the internationalist socialism that has characterized German politics for a quarter century. Yet, CDU leader Friedrich Merz has insisted that he will perpetuate a ban against cooperating with AfD, partnering instead with the very leftist parties that were so soundly defeated. In Canada, which has long aspired to be closer to socialist Western Europe than to the United States, former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau cut off Canadian citizens from money in their own bank accounts for having the nerve to peaceably protest his government's draconian COVID controls. His successor intends to perpetuate their party's control over government and their government's control over society well beyond all Canadian constitutional limits. Most of the worldwide West is now ruled by leftists loudly proclaiming their democratic virtue against fascist opposition, while simultaneously establishing totalitarian controls over their own increasingly captive populations. If they wish to succeed in once more putting civil populations firmly under the control of an elite, these leftists must defeat President Donald Trump's agenda and scatter his supporters in shame and fear. To this end, our own American leftists are eagerly working hand in glove against Trump and MAGA. Our former president, Joe Biden, senile though he seems to have been, was and remains crystal clear in his call to action against what he termed ultra-MAGA Republicans. In obeying this call, the American judiciary and bureaucracy have taken unprecedentedly partisan steps to side with the Democratic Party in political disputes. From engaging in lawfare to misapplying regulations, inciting street violence, and inspiring terrorism, leftist leaders have activated their lunatic fringe. We still do not know anything meaningful about the wannabe assassins who shot Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, and at Trump in West Palm Beach, Florida. These shooters were willing tools, but for whom? What about agencies such as the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who have systematically suppressed information about them? In fact, what about the infamously leaked Signal virtual conference on attacking the Houthis? What about the countless leaks of critical information about raiding criminal illegal aliens that have so far limited their success? What about the leaks from federal bureaucrats to congressional Democrats and activist leftist judges? To me, this does not speak to an organized conspiracy against the wishes of American voters who elected Trump and support Trump and his agenda to this day. Rather, instead of a conspiracy, there is a broad agreement among all types of leftists that Trump and his agenda must be stopped at any cost. Instead of a curated master plan, there is instead the cooperative chaos created by the willful removal of all legal and civil restraint. Civilized restraint, should I say. In normal times, crime is an illegitimate means to pursue even a worthwhile goal. However, in times of war and revolution, we are told, the needs of such extreme circumstances demand it. They demand boldness in service of these illegitimate goals, in fact. The beasts that we all carry within our dark subconsciouses are loosed upon the world. The criminally insane are exhorted to even more creative betrayals of our personal relationships and our shared values. Burn Tesla dealerships, murder corporate executives, abuse Jewish peers, and assault anyone who bears any discernible fascist taint. God forbid they wear a MAGA hat. This end justifies all means. Are leftist leaders disowning such chaos? Are Democrats disowning those who are engaged in violence? Is such madness being canceled as problematic? Of course not. Add to this the willful abuse of judicial review and bureaucratic oversight being indulged in by leftists within the system. Importing tens of millions of illegal aliens is still being defended tooth and nail because sooner or later leftists expect that they will all vote Democrat and turn us into a one-party dictatorship. Electoral integrity cannot be permitted to prevent the expansion of the kinds of casual mass voting fraud that typifies politics in cities like Chicago and states like California, exporting them to all blue cities and states. Doge must be stopped before every taxpayer-funded leftist slush fund and non-governmental agency is exposed and defunded. Leftists here and abroad cannot afford to lose the support of governments that have been weaponized against their own citizens for the benefit of those self-same leftists. They need to cheat and intimidate because what they offer, the endless hatred of identity politics and slavery under a limitless technological bureaucracy, is unappealing to citizens who prize their personal freedom and human dignity. The left's pretensions of democracy are utterly, laughably, and tragically hypocritical. Oppose them as energetically as they strive to control you and me. Thank you.